Hey guys, welcome to Ready Up episode 25. My name is Joshua Davis, and I'm the competitive events manager at ArenaNet. Most of you guys probably know me as Grouch. Today I'm joined by World Tournament Series finalist, the Abjured, which is the NA team, and we've got the Civilized Gentlemen as well. Not the full teams, and we're actually missing Ostrich Eggs. True to his own style, he's actually going to be missing today. So, anyway, so we're going to switch over and introduce the guests here, and yeah, it's going to be interesting, guys. Thanks for joining us today. All right, so here are the gentlemen, all the gentlemen. We've got 5 Gauge from the Abjured. 5 Gauge, want to introduce yourself?
Hi there, I'm 5 Gauge. I play for the Abjured on NA, and I'm joined here with some of my other teammates. And yeah, just looking to answer some questions and talk to the community today.
All right, what profession do you play?
Oh, I play engineer for the Abjured.
Alrighty, and we're going to move over to, we got Phantom as well. Phantom, what do you play?
Hey everybody, I play Elementalist. My name's Seth, and I've been around Guild Wars 2 competitive scene since the beginning.
Yeah, you're a familiar face, well, let's be honest. Team Paradigm, Mist, TCG even for a little while, right? Is that is that the extent of your teams in Guild Wars 2? I mean, Paradigm was a long time, right?
Yeah, like I was on Team Paradigm NA for the first few months, and then I switched over to Team Paradigm EU. So I was on Team Paradigm for at least a year or so.
And I had the pleasure of meeting you at Gamescom, obviously, for the All-Stars tournament.
That was really fun.
Yeah. Lots of stories coming out of that trip. Maybe not so many that we'll tell on this stream. Probably not the appropriate place. Moving on to, we got Magic Toker here as well. How's it going, Toker?
What's up, Grouch? What's up, guys? My name's Dustin. I play Thief for Abjured.
Right.
I've been playing Guild Wars for like 2 years.
You played for Good Fights, right?
Yeah, I used to be on Good Fights along with 5 Gauge and Winky.
All right, moving on, we've got from the EU side of things, who's actually, ironically, now in LA because he's going to school here. We've got Denchi. How's it going, sir?
Hey, I'm good. I play Ellie for TCG. I've been playing with them for over a year, on and off. Right now, yeah, like Grouch said, I live in Santa Barbara, so I play cross regions, but that's fine.
All right, and last but not least, so Rom's actually using a webcam. It may not look like it. He's got about 1 FPS per minute, I guess. But we've got Rom here joining us as well. How's it going, sir?
It's all good. It's all good.
I see you shaved your mustache.
Yeah, slightly. Yeah. Or it's completely gone. Yeah.
It's all the way gone. Yeah, not just slightly.
It had to be done, basically.
All right, so I've got a massive list of questions, and I've got about 25 minutes to ask them all. So we probably are not going to finish the list. So I've got a couple different categories here that we can cover. I'm going to let you guys vote on which we start with. So we've got some fluff questions, some questions that are not super relevant to Guild Wars 2, but some viewers want to know some weird things about you guys, like do you like quaggins and whatnot. So we can start there, or we can talk about the World Tournament Series in particular, which is, obviously you guys matching up in China. That'll be at the beginning of next month. We've got a lot of meta and balance questions, and then we've got a lot of team questions as well, kind of just like what should a team do to get better at the game, and some more, I guess, specific questions on how you guys are actually going to match up at the WTS event next month. Any thoughts?
I like Quaggins.
Quaggins? All right.
They're cool.
So we'll get some fluff questions out of the way real quick here then, I guess. Rom, this is for you, buddy.
Yep.
Are you ready? What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be. That's a hard one, actually.
We're gonna
I'm
We're gonna
sure.
take you guys to the limit
Not quite
today.
sure.
All your lives on the line. We're putting it all out there.
I don't know. A professor in psychology wouldn't be too bad.
Are you going to school currently?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
But may just be a foolish dream right now.
Video games come first, right?
Yes.
How about you, Fenoram?
A father. Just a regular old family guy, you know?
Wow, real talk. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Toker?
Maybe like own a
You're going to school,
club
right?
or something. Yeah, I'm going to school.
Okay.
I'm going to college, computer information technology.
Okay.
But it's kind of boring. I don't know.
All right. How about we'll do
Might be a
Denchi and then 5 Gauge.
I don't know what I want to be, but right now I'm studying Chinese and photography.
Hey, that's going to come in handy, actually.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna use it.
It's like this is all planned out ahead of time.
Yep.
All right, and
No,
5
uh,
gauge.
Yeah, so for me, I'm studying accounting in school, my last year of my bachelor degree, and I also run a small painting business. So we do stuff like very light duty contracting and stuff like that. I want to be an entrepreneur for
Okay.
the rest of that. So yeah.
So we have a lot of fluff questions, and I think I'm going to save those for afterwards. It is a massive list. Like people just want to know all about you guys, which is great. But I think what a lot of people want to hear about is the actual WTS, right? Because you guys are going to be matching up in Beijing, China, on December 5th, and going all out for the lion's share of the $50,000 prize pool, right? So the first question I have on the list today is China. And I know we talked about this before on like Meta. Watched you guys talk about this before. What do you think the performance of China is going to be in the WTS? Like, we don't really know all that much about them, right? Because you guys don't play against them very often, if at all.
Well, an interesting thing is, of the 2 teams that are going, all 5 of the players that were at Gamescom are going to be there. So either they practiced and got a lot better, or it's going to be about the same results.
Okay. So not so much a wild card situation, you don't think?
I don't
Wait.
think so.
Phantom, is that the truth? All
Yeah, it
5
is.
players from
Like-
Gamescom is one team?
No, they're not one
No,
team.
no,
Like
no.
3 of the players are on one team, and 2 of the players
Oh,
are
yeah.
on another.
Oh,
they're gonna
but
split.
all of them are in this. Okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Interesting.
So apparently they voted in some, the right people, because they're all going
Yeah.
back.
Well, that's gonna be fun.
All right, so something maybe a little bit more that you guys can actually comment on then. So U.S. meta, or NA meta rather, I guess, is a bit more focused on kind of like 5-man bruiser teams, right? Like you don't really focus around a bunker, whereas EU is still running bunker comps. They've got Tage playing the bunker guardian. What's going to happen when these 2 different metas clash? We'll start with
Clash of
the NA guys.
Sure. Well, I'm just gonna say right off the bat that when a team fighting comp, like the ones that are prevailing in Europe, comes to encounter like a 5-man or 3-point skirmish comp that the NA run a lot, it's pretty much going to be a battle of who can enforce their will on what kind of size fights will be happening, whether it's the team fight or the 3-point skirmish, right? If the NA team can simply have more skirmishes that are in favorable matchups, then that'll be ideal. And if not, if the EU team can enforce their will and get the team fights properly and decap well, then it's going to be a matter of who can do that the best, really.
All right, so I would say that TCG really relies on Sizer being able to get decaps on far, right? Like that's just kind of like always been part of their strategy. Is that as easy to do when you run a 3-point comp from NA side? Like, because you're always fighting on 3 points, so it's a little bit harder to actually, secure to actually get a decap on a 3rd point, right?
Yeah.
Um,
In practice, actually, I'd say what's happening recently, and from my experience, is it's not going to be that hard for Sizer to get decaps on a comp like that we run here. We make the very most out of our rotations. At least that's the theory we attempt to do. So we don't stick a person to defend a node, and prevent a thief decapping it as priority, right? If we know Sizer's on his way, sure, we'll beat him there if it's possible. But honestly, decaps are pretty common against our comp. We just send someone back after we outnumber another fight, and then we can have a favorable matchup to take the point back. We don't have a lot of home point defense as part of our strat, so it's pretty key for NA comps.
All right, how about you EU guys? How does that sound?
you want to go first, Ron?
Yeah, it sounds about right, I guess.
Yeah.
Size
but we-
decapping, I don't know. It depends. It depends. It's a lot of scenarios that can happen, so I can't really say.
Yeah, and we a lot of
Well,
people think we play a 2-cap strat, but we've never really played a 2-cap strat on our team. We usually like to snowball, so we'll fight on all 3 points if we need to. Then again, they have a bruiser comp which made to play 3 points, because you have all your classes have basically good matchups versus most other classes. So I mean, it comes down to rotations and where you choose to fight and what timings you use and how well you track the other team. I don't know. I don't think the clash is going to be if we try to play 2-point or they play trip cap, because we'll play trip cap too.
I think an interesting thing is neither team will be in their comfort zone, because the way NA works right now, since there's no bunkers, nobody runs bunkers, 1 kill just snowballs the map and then you get a trip cap so fast. And so EU's not
Yeah,
going to be used
exactly.
to that if we do that to them, but we're not going to be used to slowly trying to take the map when they're bunkering us, So it's going to be a matter of adapting in the middle of the game
Yeah,
for
you're
both
not-
our teams.
You're not used to 4 players standing on one node.
Yeah. No, we're not.
Even if you have 2 caps, can you get 3 caps?
Yeah, and that's something too. Like maybe we'll get it 2 cap and we'll try to go for 3 cap and we'll overextend because we're trying to unbunker people, and I don't know. Like there's a lot of things that we're gonna have to figure out on the fly for both teams.
We're greedy. We want all 3 points.
Yeah, that greed.
Yes.
You know, I really wish Ostrich was able to make it today, but like you said, true to his style, he didn't show up, didn't call, didn't leave a note, didn't really let us know he wasn't coming. I'm interested to see how like how you guys are actually able to so TCG has the advantage. They play together, right, at a LAN event. They've hung out before, like they're all great friends. NA team, not so much, right? You guys have actually never met each other. You've never hung out in real life. Ostrich is kind of like the wild card here, I guess, for your guys' team. He's kind of the unpredictable, just loose cannon, rogue kind of guy.
All of our players
Do you think the
wild
team
cards.
dynamic in person is going to affect your guys' matchups at all?
It's hard to say, really. I mean, Ostrich plays a game that is a little bit more risky than most players. He likes to really go for the overextended, like, get the down, right? And when he's able to just like go balls to the wall and get lots of kills really fast, and he doesn't get countered, it can be a really powerful force to deal with. So it really depends on if people can catch him or not. Because if he goes unchecked, then it'll just be, you know, how should I say this? It'll just be, I'd say an easy kill for sure. If he doesn't play properly and does it in a wrong way.
He's like the Tasmanian devil. Like, you put him in the right direction, he's going to cause a lot of damage. But if you can't wrangle him, then things are going to go badly.
Yeah.
Let's
The
see.
epitome of the EU or NA snowball strategy.
It's true. It's very true. Personal skills highly valued. Teamwork, not so much. Let's see.
Teamwork not so much. Yeah, right.
What have you guys done prepare to play against your opponents at the World Tournament Series? And we'll start with the EU guys.
We're still working on that.
Have you guys practiced yet?
A little,
Okay.
sort of, kind of. Not really. Like we're trying to make it work because my time zone difference and everyone is fixing everything for China, and so like we'll do it pre-China, but right now like we're not playing as much as we should.
You know it's like 2 weeks away, right?
Yeah.
It's when exactly is pre-China? When does that time window start? Like the day before you fly out?
Nah, maybe 4 days.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Have the recent so you guys have been struggling in the ESL Gopher Cups, right? I know there's been various reasons for that, but has that changed your perception of how much you should be practicing and how hard you should be trying?
I think it was an eye-opener for some people, but overall, like, we know we need to play more, so I mean, it just comes down to making it work. So,
Okay.
like, last week I couldn't play because I had a lot to catch up in school. Like, pre-WTS, I put school, like, on hold to play, because my 9-hour difference makes it kind of hard. Like, I have to be up really early in the morning and stuff. So, I had to catch up on school, so I couldn't play last week, and then probably this week this weekend we should do better, I think. But I mean, like, overall, it was a 2-1 in finals. I think it wasn't like games that were stomps or anything. It was close games. I mean, we're not far off. We just need to play more.
It was honestly a throw as well.
It was a
In
throw.
certain game. It was throw in a certain game.
Yeah, it
But I mean, I'm honest when I say it. It's my personal opinion. But those free spaces that you give, those will not exist if we practice, so to say. So we're not afraid. We're not doing bad. It's rather that people are playing all the time and they are going for the throne, and it's gonna be like this. And we don't really we are good even if we don't play, but we do this. We give enemy, we give these small free spaces all the time. That we remove these and we just go back to normal.
All right. What about NA guys? So we've seen 2 ESL Cups go down, right? And in both games you guys made it to the finals, but you've been playing against the Absurd, which is
Yeah.
again, the sister team to the Abjured, kind of. You've got a couple players who were on the Abjured originally but had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts and whatnot. And the Absurd's actually taken the ESL finals 2 weeks in a row. So are you guys on tilt a little bit after watching that, or how do you guys feel about it? And what are you doing to
I think
rectify
our
that?
biggest problem is they have a necromancer. He's like the best in the world, and we have 2 engineers, which get hard countered by necro, so he can pretty much go wherever he wants where that engineer's at and flex on him, and there's not much an engineer can do about it. So, for instance, if an engineer gets caught out at home versus a necro, well, pretty much the necro is just going to take that point, no contestation, and there's nothing we can do about it. We just pretty much have to have an Ellie go to where the necro is, but that's hard, when you're caught up across the map elsewhere. So, I mean, I think that's just the biggest problem with us. We got to figure out how to handle Nas a bit better.
Last night we
he's free to reign wherever he wants.
scrimmed them some. Last night we scrimmed them some, and we sort of came up with something that sort of works.
Does it involve Ostrich on Necro?
No.
How did that experiment go,
That
by
would
the way?
never work, friends.
I would say we actually sort of. I don't want to spoil it. Well, I guess we'll
You
probably
have
be
to talk
using
about
it
the
in
strategy
next
last
PSL.
night, but is Ostrich
Yeah.
playing Necro a thing that you guys would ever revisit?
I don't think so.
He's
I think Necro,
what about
man, Necro
Fresh Air
takes a lot of
Ellie?
experience and skill to use.
Yeah, the way I see it with Necromancer, it's like there's this critical point where when you get good enough at Necromancer, it becomes really good. But before that, it's so bad because you just die. You're like food for the enemy. And a lot of Necromancers, they don't ever reach that point. So they feel like the class is really bad. But once you get past that skill level that you need, it becomes so strong.
Would you ever take
Especially-
Ostrich's Fresh Air Ellie?
Well, for the longest
Sorry, that was a
time,
little bit of
we
a
tried
troll.
For the longest time, we tried to control Ostrich, right? We were like,
We
stay
got
on-
past that
stay on
Grouch, don't
energy.
remind him about it.
Eventually, we were just like, okay, dude, do what you want, and he's back on NG anyways in the end, so it all worked
Yeah.
out.
The reason why I always wanted to play Fresh Air so bad was because after Nas started really flexing on him hard during all of our scrims and really focusing OEGs, because obviously he's aware of that hard counter, right? It created lots of problems for our team, and OEGs is having a really bad time, to put it lightly. So OEGs, his second most experienced class he has that doesn't get wrecked by Necros is Fresh Air Ellie. So he really wanted to play that so bad. And we kind of had to let it get out of his system. We had to let him like run through it to realize it wasn't going to work for our comp. He wanted to run it so bad, and he ran it, and then he got hard countered by like thieves and stuff like that too. So he eventually just settled on his main, which is what we want to do. But once we don't have a problem like a really strong Necromancer, I feel like that'll be a huge burden off of our comp anyways, running 2 engineers. So we're practicing something that's not really going to be a huge problem for us, but it's good to know anyways, right? That you can deal with it.
All right, fair enough. All right, so I've got one last question on WTS specifically, then we'll kind of move into the more meta/team questions here. Going into the, this is going to be a fire starter, I'm sorry, but going into the finals, how confident are you guys feeling against the matchups you're going to have? And we'll start with the NA guys. I'm looking right into those eyes, 5 gauge.
Sorry, what was the question?
Oh, the question is how we're going to feel matched up against EU comps?
Oh,
Is it the question?
Yeah.
Grouch?
How confident are you for taking first place?
Oh, I wouldn't say that we have nothing to worry about. Like it's honestly too hard to predict at this point. I'm not going to say that we're confident we're going to win because that's just not really going to make much sense to me at this point. Like we're worried about mainly focusing on shutting down Thief Mesmer synergy, right? And it's going to really be a toss-up whether we can do that or not, right? There's a lot of factors at play here, and it really comes so down to who can enforce their will more, like I said before. So I'm not really sure, to be honest. I can't give a quality prediction on that. It's going to be like, yeah, NA will beat EU for sure, or vice versa, or whatever. So yeah, maybe Fanta or Toker will have a different opinion, but we'll see.
Toker?
Man, I never want to say that you're just going to beat somebody. You never want to underestimate your opponent, man. I think that's the easiest way to lose. We do have teams that run similar to TCG's comp, and we've been playing against them and practicing. We feel comfortable, but, like I said, man, TCG is an awesome team. They're really skilled players, great group of guys, and I think it's going to be a really good matchup. I'm never going to say that, oh, we're just going to, stomp them for sure, nothing like that, because that's never the case. So.
Phantom, you know more about OE, or not OE. OE's on the mind. You know more about EU than anyone on the team. What do you think?
yeah, I mean, there's some problems that I think we're going to have against TCG that we've never encountered against other teams. So more adapting in the middle of the game we're going to have to do. Like me specifically, I don't have a lot of experience 1v1ing warriors, and Rom is like easily the best warrior in my opinion, and I have trouble with that matchup. So I'm probably gonna like duel Java over and over and over and right before WTS to try to make sure I get that matchup down.
All right.
So,
how
yeah.
about you, Denchi, on the EU side of things?
I think like Fanta said, it comes down to like who adapts during the game. Like if we can find a counter to their gameplay when we play them, because we haven't played them right now, then and they can't adapt, then we'll pull it off. But otherwise, like I think it's a toss-up. We'll see what happens. I mean, we're always confident in our gameplay, but I mean, we're playing versus teams we haven't played versus. We're playing versus another meta. It comes down to who plays the best on the day.
And speaking of playing on the day, Mr. Rom, I do believe at the last day of the Gamescom tournament, you showed up wearing pajamas and sunglasses because you had been out having fun until the wee hours of the morning.
We were always out in Germany.
So, Rom, what's your take on it?
Yeah, the day for me is a lot. Definitely. Like Gamescom, we can't compare Gamescom with China now. It's a different thing. We're facing a team, you know, or at least guys who have practiced with each other for. I believe so, at least, you know. I'm not gonna talk for you guys, but yeah, I really think so, and they're gonna have more, hopefully more synergy and stuff like this. I mean, we could come in kind of however we wanted in Gamescom. It wasn't the same thing, you know, completely different. So, but right now I think it's gonna go well for both sides. I think, as long as you keep it together, keep the pressure back, you know.
So
that's so important. I just noticed the skill level of people, you know. Many people they judge each other by duels pre-tournament, you know. They're dueling each other in some arena, and oh, I killed this guy 10-4. Man, I'm better than him. And then they face on the battlefield with pressure on the, you know, throat. And then the guy who was not in favor, you know, he actually slaughtered the other. That's a common factor, especially when it comes to big tournaments like this. Same was in Heroes of New Earth I played on a very high level. Always like this. You are surprised at times and stuff. So we'll see.
All right, I've got one last question on this topic for the NA guys. So NA has gone 0-2 in the last two international events. So Sync lost against Car Crash 3-0, I guess, or 0-3, I guess, at the PAX Invitational last year. And then obviously at Gamescom, EU swept the series as well. Do you guys feel any additional pressure coming into this for just kind of North America in general? Do you feel the pressure?
Yeah,
do you
man.
feel the burden of having to carry all that weight going into this?
Yeah, dude, we want to win, man. We're going to try our best. We want to give NA a win for once, you know?
All right, sounds good. It's all we can ask of you. All right, so I've got a huge list of meta questions. We're going to dive into a couple here. So guys, for the viewers at home that are curious, like, wow, this show's usually half an hour. Well, I've got like enough questions that are going to take up like 3 days. We're not going to hit them all. We're going to end the show at a normal time. We're going to shut the stream off like we would normally do, and then I'm going to bring it back. And I'm still hanging out with these guys for a little bit longer. We'll go through a lot more of the questions. We'll try to cover as much as we can. But the official show itself will already be over. But we just want to kind of give these guys their due and talk more about the nitty-gritty of like meta and whatnot, and we'll go from there. So kind of like a state of the game light, but mostly where I'm asking the questions to these guys and getting their input on things. So the first question I had in this category was how do 5-man bruiser comps fare against the more traditional 1 bunker and 5 DPS kind of comps? We touched on that one earlier, so I'm going to skip across that one. And the first question I had on this list actually is, again, from a viewer or a forum poster here. And I guess it doesn't really fit in this category, but we'll answer it or ask it anyways, is do you feel a player's mechanical skill or tactical skill, as in strategy overall, is more important? So mechanical skill versus strategy.
It's a
I
bit of
think that
both.
varies by strategy as well too. For example, like if you play a very decap-oriented comp, and you have fast rotations and portal plays, then you don't have to win all your fights as much. You can literally out-rotate a team and just win based on sheer capture points and bunkering them properly, right? I mean, you can seriously like peel out of a fight you're losing even, right? and still beat that team and come ahead of them based on rotations. So it varies, right? When you run a 3.5 skirmish comp, like 5 skirmish player comp, where everyone's a bruiser, you need to win your fights. You have to have the mechanical advantage over your opponent for sure. Like that's a total requirement to win in that strategy, I think at least. So there's various levels of importance on that. You can get away with losing fights more when you have a portal and like really fast people as well too.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Is that
So
just
there's,
5 gauge?
like I said, very
Okay.
importance on that.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
just,
All right,
You
cool.
lagged
How
5 gauge.
about the EU guys? Do you have any thoughts on that? Player skill versus strategy?
I think there's one thing about Guild Wars 2. It's a really fast-paced game. Like, the matches are as long as like 15 minutes, right? So the tactics are limited. Like, you can have tactics, but you can't make too advanced tactical calls during the game because you all need to be on point with your actual gameplay too. So I think mechanical gameplay matters a lot, but for sure, like if you out-rotate people and like use the map because it's a conquest game and not a deathmatch game, then that is obviously one of the main things that come into play. But that's the nice thing about having 5 players is you can have different players. You can have really mechanically skilled players and you can have tactical players and you can mix it. So I think it's a matter of how you put together your team and not as much like you don't need all tactical players. You need to mix it, make it work. For your team.
I definitely agree with Demshi there. It's rather about finding the type of player you kind of need for your team to be superior in a way, rather than we're gonna get 5 good guys here, but they are of the same genre, you know, they are of the same category. You need these different individuals almost that are born to do different things on the battlefield, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think on the NA it's a little different since it's all skirmishes. If you win a skirmish, you can snowball the rest of the map and win. So it actually does not like decision making isn't as big on NA as it is on EU, and like mechanical skill and skirmishing is extremely important. I think whoever wins skirmishes and stuff basically just wins.
Yeah.
So it's more like
That's right, man. Our
NA
comp
is
is
more like
basically
almost like arena. If you win fights,
Yeah.
you win.
Yep. Our
Okay.
comp, we want to fight you even on each point, and if we win it all, we're coming to your graveyard to fight you.
Yeah, I've noticed that, but that has not only to do with mechanics. I mean, yes, of course it has.
also has to
But
do with
I'm
classes.
also saying it has. Yeah, I have noticed that as well. Like I think it's something with honor and pride on NA. You know, you kind of want to take that 2v2, even though you kind of know that you will lose it, but you will still stand up for yourself and take that fight, rather than going back outnumbering someone else faster, you know, or just fooling enemy. I've seen this a lot, I think.
The classical 1v1 fight.
Yeah, you know, no, don't help me, you know, don't help me.
All right, guys, we're going to move to the next question here. This is a bit more meta/balance related. What do you think about skills with long cooldowns? And the examples that were given is Lich Form and Warbanner, and how strong the effect is. So again, you have a long cooldown, but you have a fairly strong effect that comes to the end there. How do you feel about those skills in general? Like use? Do you think that they're viable? Do you think that they need to be, I guess, buffed, nerfed? Take it away.
I think they're viable, but if you use them, you need to take advantage of using it and win the fight, and at least get a good position on the map. You know, if you use it and then you die, then you're coming off graveyard with no cooldowns. You know, you're gonna have to wait for that big cooldown again to do something, you know, drastic in the fight. So if you use it, you better make good use of it.
Yeah, there's a comp that is on NA right now. I think there's a team that they run, I think, a banner and 2 liches. Is it Radioactive who runs that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And whenever we fight them, it's like, oh, they double lich. We're just going to leave this fight completely, and we just run away. And then the next fight we come into, we're at a total advantage, and they just can't like get any downs at all because to run that ridiculous double necro lich comp, like you have to have a very tanky comp, and getting damage down is very difficult. If you depend on cooldowns like that, it can really hurt your team if you don't use them well and don't like win the whole game from using them. It's really difficult. So.
Is that comp something, or those the examples that Chaith gave, are those something that you would see on EU?
I mean, there's some classes that have, like, elites are for most classes, like, really long cooldowns, like Fiery Greatsword, Lich, Plague, whatever. So, I mean, like, Supply Crate and stuff, everyone uses it, but there's very few EU teams building a comp around these long cooldowns. Like, EU teams play more about rotations and like maybe portal or thief rotations and stuff, rather than like 180-second cooldown AoE team wipe. There's few teams that play it, so I mean you can make it work, but it's also a bigger room for error because if you screw up, then you have less later on. So,
All right. Moving down the list here. What is one? And we'll do one from each of you guys. What is one build that you either wish was viable in high tier or wish was not viable in high tier?
delete thief.
That is a profession, not a build.
All builds on thief.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I would definitely say engineer berserker gadgets. We'll go with that. Yeah.
That
Engineer
you
berserker
wish
gadgets,
was viable.
Man. Hashtag gadget meta.
Wow! Shout out to Viwi, huh?
Of course.
All right, friends. How about Rom? What do you think, Rom?
Frenzy Bull Charge Warrior.
Yeah.
You want to see that come back again?
I wish it could be viable, yeah.
Yeah.
It would be
Arcane
boss.
spell Ellie. God.
Yeah, and yeah, Zerker Elite, Zerker Warrior, not these soldiers anymore, come on. But that's just a dream, you know? Get back to it. No, it was just a fun metaphor, personally, you know? But I like Guild Wars no matter what, so.
Okay. How about you,
I just
Toker?
want.
Oh, no, Seth.
ahead.
No,
Go
Seth.
ahead.
Wait in
Yeah,
line.
man. Cool.
Simmer down.
All right, yeah, man. I just wish a lot of Zerker specs would come into meta because I like the fast pace, and you know, if you make a wrong move, you're gonna be punished for it. And you know, I just like the squishies and the fast pace, in and out, drop somebody, go. You know, the bunker meta is kind of cool, but I don't know. I just like the Zerker meta better, personally.
All right, Fana, you're up.
I want to use the scepter dagger weapon set.
Yeah.
This all plays into
now I
Zerker
think
again, or
actually
a different
is-
amulet?
I don't care really, actually. It could be fresh air. It could be a half tanky build. I would prefer it not to be a full tanky build like the current dagger is. But I think scepter dagger is actually the worst weapon set Ellie has now, and for like a year it was the best weapon set. So I really came to love it, and now I just can't even play it. Makes me sad.
Yeah.
So
I have a build for you, Fanta.
on
Okay.
that same note, then.
Like,
I think it was Toker mentioned bunker comp, and so for NA, when you mention bruiser comp, what you really mean is celestial builds that stack might, right? Like that's essentially what NA meta is. So with those professions in mind, and by the way, I'm referencing a question that I've got from a viewer here. Do you think the problem with the current meta that we have, which is very celestial focused, is the problem with the celestial amulet itself? Or is it with might stacking?
I think maybe just shave a little, like 1% or 2 or 3 off the celestial overall abilities. You know, just make it a little bit less strong. I think it'd be okay.
yeah, I think a possibility would just be like what Toker said, shave a little bit off of that, and then you could also shave like barely anything off of might stacking, like 30 Condi damage per stack instead of 35 or 25 per Condi stack. Or per might stack. I don't know, something really small like that would help bring it in line. Because it's not like, well, DDLA is a little stronger than Celestial NG, but yeah, both just need small shaves.
I think I talked about this last time we all got together. I believe that my opinion on the matter is that Celestial Amulet is not a problem in and of itself. I feel like it's balanced or even underpowered on 6 out of 8 professions, for example, right? Then you have the 2 of them that just run with it and go really far, like the NG and Ellie, obviously. So, like I said before, there's 3 things that make a Sally build really good. The NGs and Ellies have. They have condition application, so burning as well too, as well as a variance of condies you can apply. You have lots of healing that scales well, and you have power damage that's decent. More so the NG than the Ellie, right? And it's definitely a factor of all these 3 things combining that makes Sally builds really good. But the real problem is shaving the abilities of these Sally builds to do lots of damage and healing and conditions, but not hurting the Berserker builds and not hurting the Rapid builds. Like, it's virtually impossible. I think that, honestly, it has to do with the healing stat and the fact that their sustain gets out of control. Like, the sustain on Ally is just, I think, the strongest part about it, for sure. If I was gonna guess anything it needs to shave, I'd probably say NG and LE sustain and just kind of make them forced to be more offensive. But like I said, that hurts everything too, right? Like it's not only Celestial allies that have healing stat. Like it's really hard to say anything should be shaved, but I'd say probably if that general direction, if it was could be done fairly, is the best way.
I think it also has to do with the way Sigil of Battle works for LE, NG, and Warrior. So Warrior has the 5-second weapon swap, which lets Warrior swap weapons without thinking about it as much as other classes. LE just swaps attunements constantly, and NG goes in and out of kits. So they like passively build up the Sigil of Battle without actually have to actively doing anything, which then stacks with the Might Duration runes and then Selly Amulet. So like there's a reason those 3 classes run it really well. So might want to look at that.
So, like I mentioned before, we actually are over time already, and we've asked like a grand total of like 5 questions, which is really bad timing. We've got a couple other things we want to show off before we end the show officially, and then we're going to go to the end scene, and the show end scene, and then we're going to actually bring it back. We'll talk to these guys a bit more, but the show will officially end here in a couple minutes, but there's a couple things I want to show off before we go. So the first thing I want to talk about real quick here is we're actually going to be releasing 3 new finishers next week, going into the WTS finals that happened, or that happened rather, on December 5th. So we've actually got a new finisher made for each one of the teams. So we've got a North American finisher, a European finisher, and a Chinese finisher. So we're going to go ahead and preview those right now. As an added bonus for anyone who purchases the team that wins, we'll be sending out 3 celebration boosters to whoever actually purchases the right one. So keep that in mind as you buy these, and we're going to show them off right now. So we're going to start with the NA one real quick here, and I hope you guys enjoy. And in case you're curious, the last one there is actually the EU one. So we did the NA one first, then the China one, and then the EU one. So as a note before I let you guys go, we normally have Right Up every Friday, but the week of Thanksgiving, because we'll all be out of the office, we'll actually be doing it on that Wednesday. And it is a very important episode that is really has nothing to do with events, has nothing to do with World Tournament Series. I highly recommend you guys tune in, and you'll find out more of why it's going to be an important episode next week. On that note, next week's a big week for Guild Wars 2. We've got episode 6 of Living World Season 2 going out, so make sure to tune in and check that out. It's going to be awesome. And also, we're going to be making some interesting announcements that are very relevant to PvP players, so make sure to check out guildwars2.com next week. And we're actually going to show a little teaser of what we're showing off as we go end the show here. So thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next time.